Don't think it's turned on properly this time. It's just got a blank screen. Let me turn that off and on. Right, I'm going to do a webcam stream today rather than the game stream because, as you might be able to see, got a bit of cotton wool in my ear because I've got a blocked left ear. So there we go, it's turned on properly this time. I've got a blocked left ear, so I basically can't hear very well out the left ear. So what I'll do is just do a webcam stream because then it's not like I'm having to listen to anything on headphones and then try and make sure I'm hearing stuff out the left ear, not the right ear, because that was a thing I found really annoying, like last night and today, is that if I had headphones on, my stuff was meant to be equal volume, I could only really hear the right ear properly, but thankfully both of my ears aren't blocked up at once, like sometimes happens. So I hope everybody's all right. Okay, I'm just going to look at the thing Hype said to me as well on this, so I want to do the mode button, then dose. Ah, yeah, cool. And then I can have a different one with the dose. So I guess the total microsieverts is the second bit. And then, yeah, it's quite cool, little dose screen on there. So hopefully get some comments on in a minute. I'm going to put that in a minute on top of some stuff to test it. So yeah, give me a shout when you're on, anybody. Let's test it on FiestaWare. It's just going to sit for now on my FiestaWare little bowl, and then we can have a look at its dose in a minute. Obviously, FiestaWare is not going to be very dangerous, but still be interesting what it picks up from it. And it will pick up some of the other little uranium rocks that are over there as well. So yeah, just waiting for people to come on now. It says there's people on, but nobody in the chat. Oh, I've ordered another gas mask. So like that gas mask back there, I've ordered the more modern equivalent of it, the one that can take either 3M filters or the 40mm filter to give a test on it. Right, Fabiano? Or Fabiano? Good morning. Yeah, it's good afternoon for me, but yeah, I'm all right, thanks. And Human Man says, I guess that was meant to be high, but didn't quite turn out right. But yeah, like I was saying, the only annoying thing is I've got a little bit of a blocked ear at the moment, so I thought I'll do a webcam stream because then I'm not having to listen to anything in my ear, and then so I bought some of this stuff to put in, because the annoying thing is obviously I want to unblock it, so the worst bit about it when it's blocked, I'd say, is more not the hearing bit about it, it's like the pressure in your ear, because it just kind of puts your balance off of it. Yeah, so I've got a coffee when that cools down. Obviously chat about gas mask or whatever, hopefully stuff that's not too political. At some point, I'm going to need to move that AT4 out of the background in case YouTube starts getting funny with that. But I think at the moment they don't, the thing doesn't auto notice what it is. What do you mean? What am I working as? Because like my job, I do some of the days of the week that's not YouTube related. I don't disclose on here because you get all the weird doxing type people. But I'd say like it involves cleaning. That's not too, chemicals and cleaning. But again, like it's one of those things where, you don't really need to know my personal information if you're just a random person on YouTube. So let's see what's on the news again. I saw there was some like missile things today. We've got a couple of the members of the royal family in hospital, but I don't think it's anything too serious. But again, that's the problem, is that some of the news just non-stop cover that then. Yeah, I'll go back to checking the dosimeter in a minute because I want to see what that dose screen now looks like. Yeah, there we go. Don't know how visible that's going to be on webcam without me doing the little, just doing the backlight button. So I'm guessing the 25 where it says 0.655 microsieverts, that's the total accumulative dose. Yeah, let's put it on another sample. Yeah, it's sitting on top of the little uranium crystals now in a plastic jar, so if you can hear that just beeping in the background, that's all that is. So yeah, hopefully we get some actual conversation going in a minute. If it comes out at a sensible time tomorrow, as in, you know, it comes out midnight tonight or whatever, so it's out tomorrow, I'll do a stream tomorrow, hopefully, of like that Last of Us 2 remaster with some of the new game modes in it. But again, it depends when it comes out, because if it comes out like late evening UK time, then I won't be streaming it. But because it's meant to come out on Friday, so if that's like Friday at midnight or like 1 a.m. US time, that will basically be midday our time. It will already be out, but because apparently it's only $10 to get if you've already got The Last of Us 2 on the PlayStation. So that, you know, is a bit of a no-brainer getting that for $10. All right, Regiv. I was just saying that what I'll do tomorrow is I'll stream some of The Last of Us 2 remaster, like that new game mode in it, as long as it's out at a sensible time, because it's meant to come out tomorrow, but I've not heard a time release. Yeah, they might be another year or so for the PC port, though. But yeah, at least with this one, it's only $10 to upgrade. So if you've got the PS4 disc and you put it in a PS5 disc drive, it will then let you buy the PlayStation 5 like upgrade for $10. Or if you've got the, like I've got, just like the PS4 version from the digital store, then you get a $10 upgrade option. Yeah, like I said, I'm kind of more interested in that other game mode they've added, because obviously with stuff that's actually already, you know, that's been out and available, you know, that's not that interesting to me. Like, don't get me wrong, it's interesting because it will be the same game, just looking a bit visually better in the places that they can upgrade the textures or the draw distance, whatever. That's pretty cool, Rajiv. I keep thinking the Steam Decks look pretty good, actually, because that was one of those things I was never interested in for years until I found out that, you know, it's one of those things where it's a tablet that can run most Windows things. So, you know, and I was amazed looking through the Steam library at like the amount of games that apparently work all right on the Steam Deck. Again, it's not something like, you know, I've got any immediate plans to get, but it does seem quite a good thing, the Steam Deck, as in, you know, like it's a little tablet it's kind of like a tablet built to look like a bit like a controller, you know. And there's a lot of PC games that apparently run well enough on it that, you know, you can run it at whatever the resolution of the little small screen is, you know, a good frame rate. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because like that's the thing with like these remasters is it's like the PC one I'd say is definitely a remaster over the old PS3 release of The Last of Us. But yeah, it's like with the like 4 to 5, not 4 to 5, yeah, like the PS4 to PS5 version of 2. It's going to be quite minor graphics things. It's just going to be more cut content type stuff, isn't it? An extra bonus content. I got a notification. That's just a boring one saying I spent money earlier, which I know I spent money earlier on. Yeah, again, Steam Deck is like one of those things that, like I've said, I've got no plans to get one immediately, but it does actually look pretty good for what it is. Oh, I think next week I'm finally going to cut my hair, because this weekend I'm at work, but next weekend I've actually got the weekend booked off as holiday, so it means if I shave my hair next week, it'll have a little bit of time to grow before it gets really, really cold again. Right, let's see what the accumulative dose is now, where it's been sitting on that wall. Reach over and grab that. And that's 27.24 microsieverts total now. Ah, yeah, so it's 25.6 microsieverts an hour, and it's a total of, yeah. What's the strongest thing I've got over there? Maybe one of these. kind of right type things. Yeah, it's probably actually the one I was just testing it on. But I'll just put it over there and it can stay there for the entirety of the stream. If people don't mind it clicking in the background, but it's going to be quite interesting to give that a good old test. During a Trinity test, Rajiv, no, but during some of the later tests, there were lots of people known as the downwinders. And annoyingly, the webcam doesn't seem to be focusing very well at the moment, even though it's not got any grime on the lens. It might be the light. Let me try and soft diffuse that a bit better. Hopefully that's a bit better. I think it was just where the light was at a certain angle. It was making the webcam struggle to focus. Yeah, with Trinity, I don't think it was too bad. But with some of the later tests, yeah, there were people known as the downwinders, where I don't know if they ever got financial compensation, where, strange enough, the people downwind of the Nevada test site constantly got cancers at a higher rate than other people. Yeah, it tends to more often hype for webcam streams, I've found. Yeah, anyway, I've got the thing on dose mode at the moment with some ore on top of it. Yeah, in that's Castle Bravo, the really famous one, where some Japanese fishermen were like inside the zone they shouldn't have been in and got really badly irradiated. Yeah, I like both the Xbox style D and the PlayStation style controllers. I don't know if I really have a preference. I mean, when I first got like the original Xbox controllers, I thought I really don't like the stick layout. It's one of those things that sort of grows on you, doesn't it? Because it's like the top left stick on the Xbox slightly higher than the bottom right stick. Which bit are you looking at? If you're looking at that, no, that's it's the control unit from a Polish, so like communist bloc. Is it the DP-68? It's called. I'm trying to remember the name of that one now. Yeah, DP-68. So that's like a vehicle-based dosimeter unit. So you'd have that would be inside like a tank or a vehicle. Then you'd have probes plugged into it on the outside or inside of the vehicle, and it'd be plugged into the vehicle's 12 or 24 volt power supply. And it's a radiation detector, but it's a vehicle mounted one rather than a like one you carry around on you with a strap. Thank you very much again. Massive thank you for all the stuff you sent me recently. Oh yeah, I can't obviously demonstrate it on this stream, but here's the thing I spent all my Christmas money on. Some people look at this and think, why the hell did you spend all the money on it? So a digital X-ray imager. So that's basically, although it won't look like it, that's basically a lens for X-rays. So you can have it plugged into a USB and then take photos of X-rays. So I only got a chance to start using it yesterday and only used it very briefly, for safety reasons and all that. But it looks like this will be really good for, like, because I'll be able to X-ray like gas mask filters as well, like plastic ones, so you can see what's inside them. But again, it's like one of those things that I'm going to have to get completely used to using before I get really good pictures out of it, because I've only got 2 pictures from all the batch I tried to do yesterday that actually came out where you could see anything. Yeah, basically it's yeah, so rather than having a phosphor screen like you did in the old X-rays, that's just so say you had your like thumb there, for example, then you had X-rays hit it, you'd see the bone in your thumb on a digital image that gets uploaded to the PC, or like your finger, like that. It's designed for dental stuff, so you'd have it on your mouth like that or inside your mouth. Then when they shoot dental X-rays at you, that's how they see through your gums at the thing. But yeah, like I said, they're expensive, but it's really cool to actually be able to do digital X-rays, because X-rays are one of those things where you either have to develop film to get a really good picture with them, or like when I've done X-rays before, it's where you have to get a phosphor screen, be in a really dark room with a camera where like the ISO settings and all that see really well in the dark, and then get like a really good zoomed in picture and take it at the right timing while the phosphor screen glows. Oh, what's that? The camera hype, yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right, Lit Picker. But I was saying it wasn't Trinity that was the really bad one. It was when they were doing test after test, I think, in like the Nevada test grounds. But yeah, like I said, with all those nuclear tests, if you look into them, there were people that suffered because of them. Right, I'm just going to see what the decimeter reads now. Put the light setting back on it. Yeah, I was just testing it in that dose mode, like you were saying about earlier hype. If it focuses, there we go. And it's too bright now for the webcam. Let's have a look at the spectrum of the stuff I was just testing on it. So I want to go to so that's scale, log, maybe no, back, config, sensor, maybe. Or is it mode I want to do? Yeah, mode spec. There we go. So you can watch the spectrum update in real time from these bits of uranium ore. Yeah, that's reading them up there. Is that not getting a reading? Is it on the wrong config? Sensor. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it wasn't set to the crystal. That's why. So yeah, you can see the spike there from the spectrum anyway. And just little radium, not radium, like uranium crystals. Anyway, put those back for now. And yeah, so if I then do the identify bit, I can go through it manually. So we've got the background stuff that I'll ignore. No, it's not that one I want, is it? Is it what was that one? Ah yeah, marker. That's the one. So we've got the background stuff. We'll ignore that. 223 radium. So yeah, that's just radium bits and uranium rocks. 235 uranium, which is kind of interesting because that's what they actually try and extract in nuclear reactors. 176 Lu, is that lutetium or something? I have to look what up this one is. 176 Lu. Lutetium or something. No idea the pronunciation of that. Lutetium Lu-176. So yeah, whatever that is. 131I. That might be iridium or something like that. Again, it's quite hard to show this on the screen because it doesn't always focus on the bright light very well. And oh, there's a bit of cesium-137 in there, look. 137 CS. So we have got a bit of cesium-137 in that little bit of a decay chain. I think you only get iodine-131, don't you, from a reactor? Oh, and there's a little bit of thorium at the end. So yeah, no iodine-131 in there. I'm pretty certain I have nothing in my collection that contains iodine-131. But with iodine-131, that's an actual gas, isn't it, for the most part, if I remember right? So that's one of those things that you only really pick up, I think, when there's a reactor leak, and then you need specialists like alpha detecting almost like gas sensors for it. But yeah, I-131. Let me just. You might be right. It might be iodine. Yeah, iodine-131. So yeah, it can pick that up then. But I guess that's just from the decay chain. I don't know if it's just guessing it's there. But anyway, there we go. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But like I said, I'll have to give this a good test of all the isotopes. Ahoy to you in the Czech Republic, Martin. Sad little picker. I know you've mentioned that before because my dad's uncle, I've probably said this before, my dad's uncle was at Christmas Island and all his kids have had disabilities, where obviously it's affected his DNA. And again, I don't know if he ever got the compensation for it because, like they all the like Christmas Island veterans that were still alive tried to get compensation for like all the illnesses it gave them. But again, don't know if they actually got it. But yeah, so the interesting thing with this, so that sensor, if I'm right, Hype, is the one on the back, isn't it, for like alpha and beta radiation? The pin sensor, whatever it's called. And the top sensor, although again it will pick up more than just gamma, is the X-ray gamma one. And that's where you can put the additional sensor in on one of these slots, isn't it? If you like buy one and install it. Because I think they were saying potentially in the future to have a neutron detector in, but that will be a very expensive unit if they have neutron detectors in by stock. Yeah. If you go to a museum that has any sort of radium dials in it, like old aircraft dials, that would certainly be picked up as radium-226 and its decay chain. Lots of museums that have geology stuff in will have stuff that has uranium and thorium in and stuff like that. Because even when I've taken my radio code out, out and about, there's been times when I've picked up stuff that you don't normally pick up, or like much higher amounts, when you might just have a big rock somewhere in the ground that gives off a lot more decays than something else around it. I personally don't want an FAC just because of all the extra rules that come with it, Mizuki. Glad you enjoyed the videos. But with the FAC, not so much the SGC, but like with an FAC, because you have all the things like where, at like random points, the police can just basically, without a warrant, search a house and all that and check everything's locked up properly. It just seems a lot of bollocks to me of, like if I was somewhere where I'd have actually a massive use for a gun, I could see the point of it. But like the reason I have like the obsolete calibers section 58s or whatever they are and all those things is they're not considered a firearm unless they're actually being used as a firearm. So you don't have all the extra laws that come with them. Oh, that's interesting, Hype. I'm trying to remember what the name is of the radioactive tracer fluid they use, because I know a few people have had like stuff used, where on an X-ray they give them like weird, horrible thing to drink. Apparently it tastes disgusting. And it's like, got something that then on the X-rays it like glows when it goes through your system. Yeah, sadly, Litter Picker, I imagine you're right there. And then you reckon they'd also have to then offer compensation to loads of the people downwind of Windscale Sellafield who have, where there's massively higher cancer rates in that area. I wonder why. Not in the close future, D. Again, I'd never say never because, like with lots of countries, the politics in them can massively change. But the UK is a bit like the US in the sense that it's pretty much a two-party electoral system where although you get parties that are more interesting, you only really get Labour and Conservatives ever get into power. And sometimes they're the exact same, issue on things, and sometimes they're a bit different. But for the most part, it's like because we don't have proportional representation, you've got a system where it's first past the post. So if you have loads of third parties that all get a good share of the vote, but don't get the majority, and then you have either Labour or the Conservative that got one vote extra, they're the one that gets the sort of thing. Yeah, again, Mizuki, there's lots of things like that with the firearm stuff, that any sort of like mental health history or like stuff on certain things. And again, like one of the things I've heard from a lot of people, which makes it sound like, and I think this is a system that doesn't work properly, is that people that have been honest with their doctor about like mental health things and that are more likely to not get a firearm certificate or whatever, or get theirs taken away, than people who just don't mention anything. So it ends up meaning like the people that have the firearms are the ones that are more likely bottling up lots of emotional problems. So, you know, like again, it's one of those things where like I said, a lot of the way the firearm system works in the UK is very strange, you know, and it's one of those things where, you know, I wouldn't want to have the thing of, do you have a firearms license, and then have to be really, really careful what you mention to doctors and things like that, or would you rather be honest with doctors if you've got a health problem, you know, kind of thing. Yeah, although semi-auto shotguns are only limited to 3 rounds, aren't they? Unless they're on a section 1. So, in theory, you can't really shoot them very fast because you only get the 3 rounds in it. You know, like 3-round magazines in them. Most people want to chat about Sven. So we were talking about radiation earlier with this spectrometer, but if people wanted to bring up other stuff, like we were talking a bit about gun laws, right, I'm gonna have some of my coffee before it goes completely cold. So yeah, for the X-ray sensor, that's the little manual, because I had a bit of an issue. I was saying height the other day setting this up, because this step in the manual is not the same as the firmware or like software version they gave me on the USB stick. So that register button wasn't bloody there. I had to read the more in-depth manual that came on my USB install thing, and then it told me, you know, like the default username and password to get in if you've not got the register option. Right, Big Mac? But yeah, that's the sort of pictures it takes anyway, if you get a really good, well-exposed picture. If you can see that with like the teeth there. That's the sort of pictures this thing takes. But like I said, my particular use for it isn't actually doing dental stuff. It's to do like just cool X-ray pictures and stuff. And yeah, then it's got a weird auto like fire mode. So what you do is you tell it you want to take a picture, and then you have it set up with, I'm not sure with DC or AC what one my one runs on, because my X-ray tube plugs into the wall as an AC, but I'm pretty sure it converts to DC through the power supply. So I don't know if changing that will change the contrast or anything. And then trigger threshold, obviously the lower the trigger threshold is, the easier it goes off, but I imagine it's more likely to overexpose. So I think 50 micro gray is the smallest one. I think you can go up to 200 gray or 200 micro gray. Yeah, I think it's a lot more hype that it's well on the medical records on it. Yeah, I know they definitely run on DC through most power supplies, but yeah, it's got the default options AC. But like I said, what I have to do at some point when I've got it properly set up and I've got the remote and everything, so I can do it safely, is just do a load of shots with the same distance from the sensor and everything on both the modes and the different trigger modes, and just figure out what makes the images come out best. Yeah, that's a bit weird. PCSOs are exempt from firearms laws. Right, like we were saying earlier, let me just adjust the light again, because that's now broken the focus of the camcorder. I need to try this, don't I, at some point? Because you can use this as a webcam, so that might be quite interesting. Trying the action for as a webcam at some stage. Right, so in the UK, there's some stuff that's basically totally banned. The Type 32, is that the really old looking one? I think you can only take the filter off of that one if you like undo all the tape. It's a bit like the British mast. It's almost like a taped on filter. I might have to try that, yeah, because it might just might end up being just more convenient if I want to set up a stream in a different room, because it's quite awkward trying to hold a phone and do a live stream like that. But if you have this like phone as a control panel and then have the little camera set up somewhere. Yeah, All right, yeah. Because carbon. I'm trying to remember which carbon element it is the one that's used in all like the fossil kind of stuff as well, carbon tracing. But yeah. So anyway, going back to the gun laws, there's some stuff that's completely illegal. Well, let's just say civilian ownership, because obviously with military stuff and like armed police, it's completely different. But with civilians, you can't own, as far as I'm aware, pistols full stop, unless you're on a very specific license, and then they're like pistols with a big brace kind of thing on that make them more like an old-fashioned carbine. That's all right. So those you can't own. Again, I know with all these laws there are weird exceptions, but I'll just say for the most part, because again, some of these ones are really, really obscure. So you basically can't own pistols unless they're antique pistols, but then I don't think you're technically allowed to shoot them. But you can own antique pistols, because I've got some antique revolvers that don't fall under gun laws because they're so old in terms of what cartridges they use. Yeah, but can you actually shoot black powder pistols even at a range? Or is it one of those things where you can technically own them, but you're never meant to shoot them in any conditions? Again, it's like one of those things where the laws contradict each other so much, I don't know. Then you've got what's called a Section 1 firearms certificate, which is for things like rifles. And basically everything on that has to be bolt action, unless it's 22 long rifle, because you can get stuff like Ruger 1022s that are semi-auto with massive mags on them. But 22 long rifle's the exception for that. Then a Section 2 is a shotgun certificate, so that's a smooth bore, so like not a rifle barrel. And that's for shotguns that don't hold more than 3 rounds. So as in, if you have a pump or an auto, it has to have like a really small magazine size on it, or it can be like over, under, or side by side break barrel, or a single break barrel. And then there's stuff like air rifles, which don't require a gun license if they're under a certain amount of power and everything. Yeah, that's the other thing, because you can get like the horse shooting pistols, can't you? Humane dispatch ones. Again, like because there's a vet that when I used to volunteer, right, still volunteer at the animal shelter, but not as often now. But the vet that used to go round there, I think, technically had all the rights to carry a humane dispatch pistol in case they had to kill like a wounded horse. Because like with horses, for whatever reason, I think you'd need like so many like sedatives to kill them compared to like putting down a dog or a cat or whatever. That yeah, they use like a pistol shot to the back of the head, don't they? Humane dispatch pistol. You can all, but some of the humane dispatch pistols are specifically designed, aren't they? So you can only like load 1 round at a time. They've been like designed so they're not easy to, like somebody just keeps shooting them, sort of thing. Like I've seen some forgotten weapons videos on ones, where you like basically unscrew a bit, put a cartridge in, it screws back together, and then you can shoot it, kind of thing. And I think you get some, don't you, which are like revolvers with like 5 of the 6 cylinders filled in or something. If you mean if I ruled the UK, well, if somebody breaks into your house like with the intention of doing you harm, you should be allowed to use lethal force non-stop. Oh, so you can just get, again, it's some, like you're saying, the rights of those are really weird, aren't they? Let me have a look. I don't know. I know that they're quite popular in Russia, aren't they? Some of like the weird shotgun type things. Lancaster barrel gun. Let's have a look. I think if you're looking at ones like the Lancaster pistols, I think they are completely dependent on whatever the cartridges it uses, because obviously if it's not on the obsolete cartridge list, it wouldn't count. But yeah, with like smoothbore air rifle, like again, smoothbore air rifles, I don't even know where a smoothbore air rifle would fit under, because it technically isn't an air rifle, is it? If it's smoothbore, it'd be like an air musket essentially. Yeah. So as Mizuki's saying, there's lots of very strange things with our laws. Like a lot of the time, I don't even try and make sense of them. I just look up, if I want to get something, can I legally get it? What are the pros and cons of it? and I just go off of that. It makes your head hurt trying to make sense of some of the laws we've got, because again, a lot of the laws come in as like a knee-jerk thing when they want to ban something. What particular thing was this? The Johnny Depp like defamation case against newspapers or whatever it was? Because I know there was the one he won against Amber Heard in the US, but I know there's been quite a few cases he's been in. Yeah, I'd assume, Hype, that they'd fall under any of the gun rules we already have, because the one that was really weird for a time, and I think they are totally UK legal, but again, this is weird, is airbows. So with a crossbow, you've got no limit to the power, and with an air rifle, you're limited to less than 12 foot-pounds unless it's on a Section 1 firearms certificate. But an airbow, as far as I'm aware, falls under the same rules as a crossbow. So, like where you can just rapidly shoot arrows like a harpoon gun. I don't know if like some of them you can actually magazine feed, but a lot of them you just push like a bolt onto like the little nozzle thing it shoots them from. And some of those can be like stupidly powerful, but as far as I'm aware, they don't fall under any of the rules other than crossbow rules. Don't wave it around outside at people. Yeah, the closest thing I have to an auto air rifle is the Daisy Red Ryder BB gun, because you can crank it and shoot it pretty quickly. But I know that just means it's lever action, but still. What I do like the look of, but I haven't really got time to get one at the moment, as in because I don't have anywhere to shoot it very easily, is those really nice, what's the name of the company? Gammo? Yeah, Gammo. Like the Gammo Swarms, or whatever they're called, like the 10-shot air rifles, where they have like a rotary mag in them. So they're still like the same as the other UK, like 11 foot-pounds or whatever you want, like legal ones from without an FAC. But it's like, rather than having to break the barrel, put a pellet in every time, you just break the barrel, do that with it, and you keep shooting until you run the rotary mag dry. Crossman R1, let's have a look. Ooh, no, I don't want to refresh this page, it'll break the stream. Crossman R1. Oh yeah, because you can get air rifles, can't you, that look like AKs and ARs and stuff, yeah. Yeah, and one of the things I think should be totally legal over here is stuff like pepper spray, because I really don't understand why pepper spray is like considered almost like having an illegal pistol if you own it. I know there's some firing ranges, Hype, and I don't know how all their rules work, but ones where they like literally have full auto like machine guns at the firing ranges, because there's some channels that shoot those, and they're not on military firing ranges, so I don't know how that works. They probably just have very, very strict like rules about it all has to be locked up. But yeah, the best semi-auto you're going to get is something like a Ruger 1022 in an actual rifle caliber, and then you can have semi-auto shotguns, and then for like full auto, it has to basically be a gel blaster or an airsoft gun, or like the blank firers I've got, where you can have auto blank firers. Yeah, I've always just liked the Ruger 1022 though, because it's one. I think the Ruger 1022 is just one of those things. It looks a bit like an M1 carbine, and it's just functional. But yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, there's like ARs and AKs, aren't there, in like 22 LR conversions? So they look quite fun if you actually want something in the correct kind of action for a rifle. But again, I think if I was getting a 22 long rifle, if I had like the Section 1, I'd just probably want a Ruger 1022. Anyway, I'll be on probably another 10 minutes or so. Like I said, I've got cotton wool in my ear because, like I said, I've got annoyingly blocked ear and a bit of blocked sinuses at the moment. But yeah, the really nice ones, I don't think they make them sadly anymore, are the Jaeger AP74s. I've got a DIAC one, but the Jaeger AP74 is basically an AR-15 M16A1 looking gun, but in 22 long rifle. And what was really nice of those is they did a version in wood furniture, so it looked like a service rifle in Fallout New Vegas. Yeah, I need to have a go at that again and do the tracer stuff with it. Hopefully I'll get an evening where nobody's about and I can use that in the garden without anybody making a fuss about it. Because, yeah, the DIAC one I've got is with the black furniture on, but yeah, I've always liked the wood furniture look of, like, you know, the AR-10 and, like, the ones that were prototype M16s or AR-15s, just because I think it looks nice with wood furniture. Like, I can understand from a military rifle why they use plastic furniture, but in terms of, like, visual look, I definitely prefer wood furniture. But yeah, at least when I've done this stream today, we've had a decent amount of people on. I know 10's quite small for a live stream, but you can at least chat with 10 people, where the comments don't go too fast. Yeah, so I suppose if it was in any other caliber than 22, it would have to be straight pull, wouldn't it? Where you just keep doing the back section of it, the charging handle per shot. But yeah, if it was in 22 LR, it can technically be semi-auto. There was a thing on the news the other day about blank guns, and I thought, oh, bloody hell, don't start wanting to ban blank guns now. And it was saying that technically in the UK, like this year or last year or whatever it was, there were more firearms incidents of blank guns than there were actual guns. But it was a bit deceiving because when you read into it, it wasn't necessarily on about people being killed or wounded. I think it was just on about like people robbing people with like blank guns, you know, or intimidating people with them and that. So again, it's like that doesn't even require them to convert them if they're doing that. Because I'm sure if somebody's waving a blank gun in your face, you're not going to check if it's top venting or whatever. You know, if somebody's asking for your wallet. Yeah, like the only ones that, like I said, Mizuki, like the ones that are good thumbnails, the ones where I've actually cropped a bit of the video, put a title on it and stuff like that. The problem is obviously with like YouTube Shorts, you can't actually put a custom thumbnail on there. They don't let you. They just pick a bit of the video and make it the thumbnail. And yeah, like some of the videos, if it's something I don't think will interest that many people, or you know, it's not gonna look that different whenever I do the thumbnail, you just end up having sometimes annoying like weird face bit for your thumbnail. No, I have not seen a video of a guy getting shot in the face. I shouldn't laugh at that. I mean, there was one I saw a while ago where a guy, like on meth or something, kept getting shot by a cop, and he kept getting up until like he finally had a shot, I think, go into his brain, and then he immediately dropped. But yeah, one of my friends, I don't think he still has it, used to have an airsoft like WA-2000. And that looked really, really nice. But again, it was like one of those stupidly expensive airsoft replicas, you know, to the point where it wasn't any more practical to take skirmishing than just, you know, an AR or AK style airsoft gun. You know, and he never wanted to scratch it up or anything. They did look really nice. It was more like something you'd put on a, you know, like put on your mantelpiece rather than actually use for anything. But I think it was on the officially like licensed Wolfer one, so it was like almost a 1-1 external replica. All right, Jason. Pretty good other than the fact I've got a blocked here, but loads of people I work with have had COVID the last week, so I'm actually quite glad I've not picked up COVID. What on, Jason, if I can help, because it only depends if it's something I can actually give you advice on. But If you don't have a surplus store near you, I'd say just check eBay. Because generally you can get loads of surplus eBay sellers, just like with the gas masks. So unless you're looking for something very specific that's like quite old, and like rare, and there's like, you maybe want the official thing, not a reproduction, eBay's generally good just for finding like surplus. The only problem with eBay is obviously you don't know like how faded the camo is before you get it, unless somebody's photoed the individual bit of clothing, like when you're buying in bulk from like a surplus seller and you just select the size out of, where they've got hundreds of a certain size available. You never know normally, like how good the camo pattern's going to look on it. But are the Umbrella Soldiers the ones that mostly are in like black sort of gear? Because if so, you could probably just on eBay find like airsoft rigging type stuff for stuff like that, like black tactical vests or whatever. Okay, so all black, but he wants it like a kind of worn look to it. I'm trying to think what nations actually have used just like black rigging, because like most nations obviously have camo patterns on them, but yeah, I definitely want to get into using the bow again. It's like the annoying thing is this time of year is like it's sometimes good for filming stuff in the dark at this time of year, but it's just cold and wet and horrible outside every day. So yeah, you've got like the S10 or whatever already. For the helmet, you probably want to look for the British Armed Police helmet, because that is most of the British Armed Police have just a pasket in black, or you want a Mark 6A, depending on like which Resident Evil game or film you're basing the look on, because they've changed over like the years on some of their things. Yeah, like I was just saying, yeah, Mizuki, yeah, if you have the Mark 6A without a cover, that's the right look. Again, it depends. Like they have paskets in some of the Resident Evil games, and that in other ones it's Mark 6A. I think it just depends on like which art direction thing they were doing at the time. You can get 3D printed, not official like Avon red lenses fairly cheap on eBay. Like they're not the proper laser like resistant ones, but they'll look the part. Let me just have a look on eBay and see if I can find like black webbing. But I'm trying to think what nations would have actually used that. We'll search surplus, because that way again, most of the stuff coming up on here is the actual God damn it, there's somebody charging £700 for like random pouches that aren't even like cool surplus ones. But yeah, I'm saying the black webbing's the only thing you might struggle to find is like kind of more of a worn surplus look. You might have to do that yourself, because again, like a lot of armies and that don't actually use black webbing. But yeah, for like the helmet and like you said, you've got the mask. For like the clothing, you could probably just get a black boiler suit, in all honesty, and then like put some webbing on top of it. Navy blue might also work quite well, because some navy blues are also really dark, where you'll struggle to tell them apart from black unless they're under like the right lighting. But yeah, I think for the webbing, you might have to just look at like decently priced airsoft stuff, and then maybe like make it look a bit more scuffed up yourself. Let me just have a look. Like some of the police stuff's in black, so let me just have a look at is there police webbing on eBay? You can get like the police stab vests and all that on eBay. Yeah, I'm just having looks for you for police vests. Yeah, because a lot of the police stuff's in high vis, but you can get the ones with all the pouches on it and that. Ex-police, this one. This is the only thing that's coming up. Let me just fix the URL, because it does that stupidly long URL by default. So this is the only thing I can think of for you in terms of like webbing, is like the preset vest sort of layouts. But like otherwise, like I was saying, you could just get the thing of, you know, like you're saying, yeah, scuff up a bit of airsoft gear, and then you can get the exact stuff you want. But yeah, that's the best thing I can sort of think of for you in terms of surplus stuff, is just the police actual vests. And there's different like vest layouts for the ex-police vest. You can get some without any pouches on, some which are like molly type ones you can put your own pouches on. The ones I've got are the ones with barely any attachment bits on them, you know, because the idea is if I was wearing soft body armor, I'd wear it under a bit of rigging anyway. Yeah, sadly, all our surplus shops in like Oxford area have closed down, as far as I'm aware, because they used to be good, because you used to be able to go in there and actually see the condition of any of the clothing, you know, in case there were rips in it, or, you know, like it was really faded. But like I said, when you're buying online, it's a bit of a gamble. Even if you can, you know, find a listing for the exact size you want, you never know if it, you know, how the pattern's going to look. All right, anyway, I'm going to head off in a minute. Oh, and Chubby Rain says he scours the charity shops for combat gear. Yeah, one of my friends works at a charity shop, and he says sometimes they get really weird, interesting stuff come in. You know, like he said, he's had Fiesta wear come in and stuff like that before, and like he said, the weirdest thing they had come in was like when they had like Mein Kampf and loads of stuff donated, and he's like he had that for free because apparently they weren't allowed to sell it in the charity shop, so he just took that as a souvenir. But yeah. Anyway, have a good day, everybody. I'm going to finish my coffee off now because it's probably gone cold. But unlike tea, at least coffee doesn't taste too bad when it's cold. But yeah. So tomorrow I will stream some of that, like some of the extra content from The Last of Us 2 remaster, assuming it comes out at a sensible time of day in the UK. Because if it comes out like 10 p.m. UK time, I won't be streaming it tomorrow. But like I said, if it comes out, you know, like midday sort of time tomorrow in the UK, I can easily stream some in the afternoon. Right. I don't mind iced tea hype, but cold tea I absolutely hate. Right. See you, everybody.